Impassable roads, flooded houses and schools, and fields submerged following heavy rains. The scenery in Cameroon's northern town of Yagoua is one of devastation. The far north region has been experiencing floodings caused by heavy rainfall, the overflowing of rivers, and the breaching of dikes. The Minister of Territorial Administration visited the disaster-stricken region Wednesday. This year's floods have been particularly devastating. Global weather forecasters had already predicted that there would be a lot of flooding, but we had no idea how bad it would get. The waters have risen to more than 1.5 meters, which is quite irregular. And it is said that the last time this department experienced such a tragedy was in 2012. Soldiers have been summoned to provide assistance. If the floods have forced many to leave their homes to look for shelter, some remain in the flooded towns. Cameroon's national broadcaster reported that around 43,000 people had been affected by the flooding. Many did not want to leave their homes. That's why we transport people from house to house by pirogue, and since our pirogue has no engine, we only charge 50 CFA franc per person. Survivors of the floods received aid including food and sleeping kits during the ministerial visit. However, life remains extremely difficult, even for those evacuated and housed in temporary accommodations. It's not easy for us mums. There are normally more of us. We have to strengthen the dam to avoid this kind of problem. At the moment, we are really left to use our own devices. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the humanitarian response in the Cameroonian Far North region takes place in a complex emergency context.
On Thursday, Italy's lower house of parliament welcomed its first ever black member. Aboubakar Soumahoro's first day as a parliamentarian was rich in symbolism. The farm boots he wore show his humble beginnings as an immigrant farm worker more than 20 years ago. We shall work for those who were put in a condition of slavery, for our sons, for the youth, for those Italian people who are to flee abroad, because they were not given the chance to live here. This is what we will do. Having arrived in Italy himself as an undocumented 19-year-old from Ivory Coast in 1999, he has vowed to use his new platform to advocate for protection for asylum seekers and minorities. It's been 20 years since laws like Bossi-Fini create and produce illegality, create and produce slavery, create and produce monstrosities. I am one of the victims of the Bossi-Fini law. We can't have in our country, in Italy, first-level children and second-level children. We need to grant Italian citizenship to children born and raised in our country. It is a matter of civilization, of dignity, and also of coherence with the principles of the law. Italy's new right-wing government has promised to crack down on migrants. In August, a Nigerian street vendor was killed in broad daylight, sparking national outrage.
At least 11 people were killed and 53 injured when a bus hit an explosive device in central Mali on Thursday. The explosion occurred on the road in the Mopti area in the early afternoon, according to a security source. Mali has long struggled with a jihadist insurgency that has claimed thousands of lives and forced hundreds of thousands from their homes.
On one of the busiest thoroughfares of Mogadishu, time stopped 5 years ago. The October 14 attack killed at least 587 people at the junction in Sube, which was renamed after the date on which the truck bomb blast occurred. If most of the buildings have been rebuilt and normal traffic seems to have returned, invisible effects remain, like the trauma survivors have to live with. It is a painful memory because I saw with my own eyes many dead bodies scattered on the ground. They used to work around here, the Subi junction. Some of them were obliterated forever, others were only identified by their remains and bones. That day was shocking for me. The 2017 attack ranks among the deadliest terrorist bombing in Africa involving the use of improvised explosive devices. No one claimed responsibility for the blast, but the government blamed it on the terrorist group Al-Shabaab. Hundreds like Bila and Farah were injured in the attack. The big truck bombing affected me a lot, but now I thank Allah for my recovery. I sustained big injuries to the cheek and head, but now I have recovered. Thanks to Allah, I have started working again. In February 2018, the Somali military court convicted 23-year-old Hassan Adan Isak for leading the Al-Shabaab unit said to have carried out the attack. It is estimated that over 4,000 civilians have been killed in Al-Shabaab attacks across Somalia, Kenya, Uganda and Djibouti since 2010.
Long queues have emerged at petrol stations in Tunis, Tunisia's capital, caused by disruption in fuel deliveries, the latest economic hiccup in the North African country, facing a crunch in its public finances. Authorities blame motorists in the capital for sparking the shortages by flocking to fill up. I am not going to lie to you, I haven't filled up yet. I arrived here at 5:30 a.m. I live in Morouge, southern suburb of Tunis, and I arrived here at 5:30. I still haven't filled up. I wasted my day. I have neither worked nor filled up my tank. Where is this country going? Where are we going? A long-running economic crisis has become more acute in recent months, with commodity shortages and inflation at around 9% in Tunisia. The latest fuel shortage adds to that of flour and cooking oil. There is no fuel, there is nothing. Experts have blamed the situation on the country's poor public finances and low credit rating, meaning suppliers demand to be paid in cash rather than on credit. The government insists that fuel deliveries are proceeding as normal. Let them find solutions for us. We know that the global and national situation in particular is bad, but I appeal to the government to find solutions for us and to find a solution regarding energy, because without fuel, the wheels of the economy cannot turn. The government has said they are presently in talks with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, for a bailout loan of around $2 billion.